Okay, Mark Lieberman, you're just inducted into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. You've been inducted into a lot of Hall of Fames across your career and your life. What does this one mean to you?
I think they're all very, very special, and they're all a testament to the sport. I think the most, this is it. This is the pinnacle of wrestling right here. And so it's a huge honor, and I share it with just these incredible people, many of whom I competed with, were on teams with overseas. It's very special to join the club. It's also a testament to our sport, which is just such an unusual vehicle to educate young people, to get them to go beyond anything they thought they could accomplish in life. And so many of the people in granite around this building have lived great lives because of their experience in wrestling. They have done more, they've accomplished so much. So it's very special.
So like you said, people in the sport have gone on to do great things. What do you think are some of the aspects of wrestling, or that you picked up in wrestling, that translated to off the mat success for yourself?
We grew. My sister, my business partner, was my sister, who is here, and we grew a company with 170 people on 3 continents, and the whole culture of the company was built around wrestling, about giving your best, about doing the little things, the disciplines, about aiming high and reaching for the stars. All those things, they didn't just appear. They came from our parents. But they came from our coaches and our mentors, and I was just blessed with just incredible guidance and leadership within the sport that turned out to be just the right formula for a great, successful business career and building a fabulous company. So it's great.
You are Lehigh University alumni, one of the most storied programs in NCAA history, and you're kind of, frankly, one of the legendary figures in the program. How does that feel, and what does that mean to you?
Lehigh's a very special place. When I was there were no scholarships, and so kids who came really wanted. They had to, they were given aid sometimes, but sometimes not much. So they had to really want to come to Lehigh. So why would you go to school when you're not getting a full scholarship or a gold-plated ride? Lehigh is a phenomenal institution. I got 3 degrees there, 2 undergraduate degrees and a master's in business. And I wanted to build a company. I wanted to create something big. They gave me the tools, they really gave me the tools. But I like to say I learned to think in the classroom, and I learned to compete, which you do in business all the time. I learned to compete in the wrestling room. So it was a very special place. We placed 3rd in NCAAs my senior year, with 3 guys in the finals and 2 champions. It was and the people who are here for our induction, they run companies. Ask them their title. This one's a managing director. This is a doctor. This is a CEO. It's just shocking how much they've accomplished. And I guess I saw that as the best fit for me to get the most out of my life, which is sort of what wrestling is about, right? It's getting these young kids to blossom into great people and to do great things. Lehigh, very good at it. Very, very, very good at it.
In a career littered with highlights, one of the shining ones is pinning John Peterson, Olympic champion. Can you talk us through that match and that moment and just leading up to it? What was it like wrestling one of the legends in the sport?
So John was a competitive wonder. So, he didn't do anything in college. It was really leading up to the 72 Olympics where he and Ben Peterson and Dan Gable, and a whole bunch of other great guys on that team, they bonded together and they just raised everybody's competitive level to about. John was very kind to me. He allowed me to come. I was in Blairstown, New Jersey, at Blair County, and he was in Lancaster without the Athletes in Action team. he allowed me to come down in high school and work out with me, and he beat the daylights out of me. He just pounded me. You know, he's 7 years older or something, 6 years older. And then I got him in competition. And the first time I lost to him by 20 points or 20, and you know, we had 3 or 4 matches like that. I lost to him in the finals of the Midlands, 3-2. It's getting close. I was getting close. And then I got him in and I caught him. I had marched through the tournament, as had he, and I got him in the finals, and I threw him from chest to chest position, crotched him, and 3 weeks later, we went to the National AAU Open, and he beat me by 3 or 4 points. So we had this run of, I don't know, 5, 6 bouts, but we had probably a run of 50 workouts together. And you know, John was completely superior. He was older. I quit wrestling before I reached my peak because of the cancellation of the '80 Olympics. But John was just an idol. He was an idol both as a wrestler, but also the type of human being he was. You know, he was just a quality person, and he allowed me to grow into a competitive force that challenged him. So think about what a quality attribute that is, that he helped the kid who came up and bumped him off, even though he got me there 2 weeks later. I can't say enough about it. It's great stuff.
Most people view the 1980 Olympic boycott as a travesty. How is that something that you moved past in your career?
It was, you know, and I don't mean to bash the political segment of our society, but shame on them. You know, little kids, young men, young people all through all the Olympic sports who dedicated their life for 15 or 20 years, and because of Russia's invasion of Afghanistan, they boycotted the Olympics. A year later, we were doing all the same trade. We were buying wheat, selling them tractors, we were doing all that stuff. It was wrong. It was just stay out of sports. It should be a pure environment. It was absolutely wrong. For me, I was one of the lucky ones. I had all these tools from Lehigh. I had 3 degrees. I had people helping me and opening doors, and I was able to go right into my career. But there's some of these guys in here, it was a terrible sacrifice of their future. And very sad, very sad. So, you know, that's my summary of it. It wasn't the way I intended to end my career, you know, with a boycott.
So you were part of one of the first, you know, Blair Academy teams. Now that program is absolutely legendary. You know, the best known high school wrestling program in the nation. What was it like being there at the inception?
So we at Blair Academy came from just an average program, not even an average, maybe a below average program. And the senior coach, Bob Dowling from Lehigh, 2-time Eastern champ, retired after like 50 years of coaching. You know, he was ancient. And Tom Hutchinson came in. And Tom Hutchinson changed everything. He was an All-American, but he only had wrestled 2 years at Lehigh, his last 2 years at Lehigh. And he was just dying to, you know, build and create great wrestlers. He came in. I didn't score a takedown. We started practice November 8th after football season was over. I didn't score a takedown until February 2nd. And you know, I mean, think about that. No takedown, not one takedown. Working out with this guy every day. You know, you were going with this NCAA All-American. And he just raised my game dramatically. He raised the program's game. You know, Bobby Weaver, Rico Ciparelli, Kelly Ward, you know, great competitors that came through the program. He did it with the attitude, the Thad Turner attitude, which is, you know, building men, building good quality people, you know, getting them to face dragons, you know, 8 levels up on the toughness scale above them, and not being afraid of it. And that for me was just a massive blessing. For Blair was a massive blessing, and Blair all of a sudden realized that this was a wonderful asset for them. So I think the launch of that whole program, Hutchinson was named Coach of the Year by USA Wrestling in '81, and it just shows, you know, what we can do, what any high school coach can do anywhere in the country, just by putting in smarts and dedication and the right attitude.
So, like I previously said, you've had a lot of highlights in your career, but outside of, you know, winning the NCAA titles and pinning an Olympic gold medalist, do you have any memories that stick out to you that might be maybe a little more mundane, but that stuck with you over all these years?
Yeah, when you're old and decrepit like me, you remember these things. And I bet you Leroy Smith would say this, Tom Slowey would say this. The thing you remember the most, the joy you have the most, is those workouts. The intensity of the workouts at Lehigh University in the room. I'd wrestle Colin Kilrain, and we'd fly across that mat, in 5 seconds. We'd have the 18-pounders would dive out of the way so they didn't get trampled. The workouts were just fabulous with incredible, All-American after All-American after All-American. That to me is the memory that I think every wrestler cherishes. That moment when you've given, more than you had to give. And that's where our sport pulls out of people. It's wonderful.
Well, congratulations on the induction, Mark. Well deserved. Thank you for all your contributions.